Have you ever played a piano piece where it seems as if the composer just wants you to trill until your hand falls off? Sometimes with a very awkward pair of fingers, too. Yes, I'm looking at you, Ludwig. One such passage occurs at the end of the last movement of the very last piano sonata. This is Opus 111, and this passage goes like this. Now, if you want to avoid trilling so much with the extremity of your right hand, you can pick up some of the middle melodic notes with the left hand, at the expense of switching trilling fingers a couple extra times, like this. And this is, in fact, how I usually play this in performance. But today we're going to explore an even easier, I should say lazier, way of playing this passage. And if you saw my video on octave glissandos, you probably know where this is going. Now, whenever you do anything with Legos and a piano, remember that rule number 1 is do not hurt the piano. Avoid scratching surfaces with the plastic, so anytime you want to make contact with any surface on the piano, use rubber-tired wheels. Now, I have here some rather oddly shaped pieces that kind of look like fingers, and what I want to do is have something that will alternate pressing them very rapidly. So here we have our pair of fingers. So what I need next is some way of working these two fingers like pistons. Like this. I should also take this opportunity to mention the second important rule of using Legos with a piano, which is you do not want to drop anything inside the piano, because it's going to be a great headache getting it out. Now I have to be sure to hook up the two fingers such that as this spins, they will be playing exactly opposite each other. Now we just need to hook up a motor. And I have a couple of these things here. I don't think they make motors in battery packs like this anymore. These are from like the 90s. And now, moment of truth. It works! I'm a genius! Okay, so now that we know that the basic idea works, the next problem is how do we mount it on the piano so that both of my hands will be free? And what I have in mind is some means of hanging it off of this ledge and then having it rest down here at just the right position. And to do that, again, remember, if it's going to be running along here, we don't want the plastic to actually touch the finish on the piano. Now the question is, what is just the right placement for this? I think before I work out where to hook it up here, I'm going to have to work out how this sits against the piano here. And I may have run into a bit of a snag here because I've been assuming that it will hang on up here, but it looks like the weight of this thing will be enough to just cause this to pop off. So I might need to deviate from my plan of using just Legos and put some heavy object up here. So finally, after a lot of tinkering around with this off camera, I realized that the simplest way out of this dilemma was to just add another wheel for another point of contact so that it can ride along underneath the music stand instead of having to get some extra object to weigh this down. I ended up having to reduce the gear ratio from 1 to 5 to 1 to 9 because it actually was going faster than the action of the piano itself could handle. And this is the result. So we still have some work to do with this, obviously. The critical flaw in this design is, well, there's two. One is that there's no volume control. So we're basically stuck at forte fortissimo in what's supposed to be a really quiet passage. More bothersome is the fact that as I've built it, it is not black key compatible. And it would be nice to be able to play, for example, the ending of Opus 109 with this, which trills on those keys. In fact, what would be even more useful is if it could be adapted to work with any arbitrary pair of two notes. So then you could do, for example, octave tremolos, etc. So I could definitely keep working on this, but at some point you have to ask, wouldn't it be a better use of time to just practice the music so that this isn't necessary? See you next time. I'm Ben, signing off.